The truth was that the Beatles had just split up, and it's really the equivalent for you of losing this job.
Which might happen. You never get
this interview, you never know.
Yeah.
But, you know, you think about that. You know, you got a good job, you got a good position, and suddenly, next day, it's like, well, what are we going to do today? It's not there anymore. And it's a big number, you know, the rug pulled underneath your feet.
Is that why Wings went through such a metamorphosis? I mean such a searching for identity?
Really, yeah. I mean, the question is, follow that.
Well, I don't know. The thing is, you know, do you expect us just to go on forever, you know, making more and more money, making more and more figures, bigger and bigger? You can't.
No matter how good people are, no matter how well they do, they don't just stay up on the top all the time. There's got to be ups and downs. And I think, you know, the difficulty was to do anything after the Beatles that would look even remotely valid.
Are you at all concerned about what the critics say?
No, he said, lying through his teeth. Not at all.
No, he said
no,
he's reached for the review.
No, no. Oh. Yeah, I'm too concerned, probably. But you can't help it. You're human, you know, you see papers. And if, since you're a kid, you read papers and sort of take them for what they are, if they're talking about you, well, you know it. You can't help it, you know. And it's probably worse when they hit on something that you're a little insecure about anyway.
But my God, I mean, Paul McCartney certainly has no reason to be insecure.
No, I'm insecure. Just like everyone. You know, a lot of people said, oh, you're crazy. I mean, and I think we were, too. We just met, and it was in all that kind of euphoria of just having met the first couple of years. And I think I just kind of said to her, look, you know, I mean, I'm going to be doing music and stuff. Do you fancy being up there with me? You know, can you imagine that when the kind of curtain comes up and there's all people there? Could you handle that? And do you fancy it? Yeah, you know, sounds all right to me. Truth, I just wanted Linda up there, that's all. It wasn't so much, in truth, from a music point of view, as just a feeling point of view, really. Obviously, they're better musicians than Linda, but that wasn't what it was about.
Have you surprised yourself a little bit? I mean, in terms of your devotion to family?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think, you know, when I was younger, definitely could have never imagined it, you know. Would have really thought I was just, I don't know, just be a bachelor and a musician or something. It creeps up on you, though, doesn't it? You know, get to an age, though, you suddenly realise you like all that stuff. You can't talk about having babies. You've got to have babies. There's a big difference, you know. Talking about them, imagining it and theorising is one thing, but actually having them crawling all over you and they're yours, you know, makes a big difference. They're nearly always with me. I've just been in LA. They were there with me. They're here with me now. Not here with me, but here with me.
Has it been at all difficult to find a balance between being a good family man and a good music man?
I don't really think it has, actually. I think, you know, things have got to work out right. You know, you've got to be lucky, find the right woman and stuff, you know.
In 1980, the murder of John Lennon affected him deeply. We'll hear him talk about that in just a few moments. But we start today's session with something that happened earlier that same year with Paul McCartney that made headlines. While he was making a concert tour of Japan, he was arrested for the possession of marijuana.
It was just a silly mistake, actually. I came from America, and the liberal climate in America towards said substance. And went to Japan where the law is 7 years hard labor. Yeah.
You wound up 9 days in the clink.
And I ended up 9 days in the clink, yes. Quite a rich experience of life.
Embarrassing experience? Angry experience?
No, worrying, really, frightening. I mean, if it had just been me in a group or something, I don't think it would have been so bad. I took the wife and kids, see, like I always do. So Daddy got busted. Where's Daddy? It's gone away for the evening. So I was imagining Linda and the kids, a little house on the outskirts of Tokyo, the kids being brought up in Japanese schools. You know, that was going to be it. I thought, oh. You know, it just was suddenly warp 5, you know. Yeah. Tokyo and stuff, you know. I just was trying to imagine that, you know. is this serious? You know, am I really going to be in jail for 7 years and making mailbags and
You know,
stuff?
for a lot of critics, it went hand in hand, rock and drugs.
I don't really know about everyone else, you know. I mean, for me, it used to be a lot more widespread. You know, it's kind of eased off.
Is it a burden to be the person that everybody's looking to, anxious to see what he does?
I try and not think about all that stuff. It's one of the reasons I really try and lead like a normal kind.
John Lennon's relationship with McCartney barely resembled times when they were the best of friends.
I would have liked to have seen him the day before and just straightened everything out, you know. That's one of the things about sort of a sudden death like that, you know, is that you do there are many things left unsaid, you know. But on that angle, really, I didn't feel quite so bad because, like, the last time I had spoken to him, we had actually cleared a lot of our differences up, and we'd sort of... Well, you see, one of our big problems over the last 10, 12 years had been the business thing. And we found that we could talk to each other as long as we were talking about kids, talking about stuff like that. It was really easy. And we could get on fine, and it was, wow, you know, well, how are your kids? Wow. And we'd be going to be terrific, you know. And suddenly, either one of us would kind of say, oh, well, what about the Apple thing then? And he'd get real mean, wow, you know, because, I mean, that was like a serious game of Monopoly, that.
Did John's death, in any way, change the way Paul McCartney views his celebrity status?
Not my celebrity status, no. But it changed a lot of things. Changed how... Well, something like that, obviously, like, it's very final. To me, it was sort of end of an era. Sort of really wrapped up the Beatles thing, kind of thing, for me. Because it was always... Although the four of us never really thought we were going to get back together. The press would always ask us if we were, and people on the street. But we pretty much knew we wouldn't get back together because I think we really felt we'd done it.
Before Lennon's death, he and Yoko lived in New York, where she managed their business affairs, and rumors of a strained relationship with McCartney persisted. Recently, McCartney and his wife, Linda, met with Yoko for a reunion. Should not everyone have been surprised? I mean, are you...
That's what everyone seems to think. Yoko and I are sort of at war, you know. I think it's based on events of the last kind of 10 years. No, during the last year or so, we've had a better relationship than we've ever had, probably. Yeah. We just find we're suddenly able to talk to each other. It's a weird thing, really, but she's a nice lady.
Did John's death, did it frighten you in terms of...
No, John's thing,
yeah, did it frighten you in terms of your personal concern for your own welfare, for Linda's?
Yeah, a bit, you know, because I suppose you know there's nuts out there, you know there are crazy people everywhere, but you don't really think it's going to happen. I suppose something like that actually sort of focuses it. And I mean, it's tough, but yeah, obviously I was worried for a few weeks, but I don't think you can live like that. I wouldn't like to live with that on my mind. So really, my attitude is just try and just push it out of my mind. I don't really know what else to do.
Can you be objective about your work at all?
After a long time, I can. After a while, I can do it. You know, when I'm just going along, I hear it on the radio. This is a great conversation with Quincy Jones I was working with out in L.A. And something he once read somewhere was this thing about there's two approaches to a thing, of the creative and the judicial. And your big problem is when you do them both at once. You try and be creative and at the same time check whether your spelling's right. Because you kill it. The minute it goes out, you kill it. And the minute, so you never get any creative flow. So for me, the judicial thing has to come later. I just got to kind of push it out and get it. And I've got a great producer I work with, so he actually is the objective one. I had a song called Ebony and Ivory, which I'd written, and I wanted to sing it with a black guy. So I'll do the ivory, and I'd like to get somebody to, I'd like it to be a duet. And first thought was Stevie, really. I just thought, well, if I could get hold of anyone to be Ebony for that song, I'd like to do it with Stevie, just because I'm a fan of his.
What was his reaction?
So I rang him up. He said, yeah.
What's the message of Ebony and Ivory?
Ebony and Ivory is supposed to say that people of all types could live together.
Need every song have a deep message and have some deep, lasting...
Oh, no, I don't need that in a song, you know. It doesn't... No, it's a funny thing, isn't it, records? I mean, you know, it can just be a sound can really attract you to a thing. Just a noise or a word, Huckleberry Friend. Or, you know, there's always just a little gem of something.
You'll be 40 in June. I hope I'm not giving away any trade secrets. I think you're handling it well. What does it mean to you?
Being 40, yeah. It doesn't mean a lot, you know, being 39, being 40, being 3,823. I mean, I remember seeing Bridget Bardot is 40, Marilyn is 40, you know, and there's all certain people, and when they get to be 40, it's a headline. I'm not really likening myself to Bridget and Marilyn, but I'm obviously coming in for a little bit of that stuff, you know, like, what's it feel like to be 40? Actually, surprisingly, it doesn't faze me at all, no.
How long would you like to keep on doing this?
This, forever.
Really?
I think so, yeah. I haven't found anything better yet. It's sort of, for me, I really feel as though I'm a writer, really. And I feel, you know, you'd be 98, be 100, and just say, yesterday, tomorrow, whatever it is, you know. It may slow down a bit, maybe get to be a few more ballads. But, you know, it's just... We become very, very close as people. Just little things that would happen to us over the years. Just working together so long is a biggie. It's a great thing, you know, and you work with people a long time, get to really read each other.
How many are bald that you have to wear those wigs?
All of us. I'm bald.
You're bald?
Oh, we're all bald, yeah. And deaf and dumb, too.
One here.
What do you think your music does for these people?
Well...
pleases them, I think. They must do because they're buying it.
Why does it excite them so much?
We don't know, really.
If we knew, we'd form another group and be managers.
You'd have things happen that would really bring you together, you know, so you'd be a very tight group. I mean, you'd be driving up the motorway, the freeway in England, and a rock had put the windscreen out, and it'd be like depths of winter, you know, like up North America here. And you've got no windscreen, and you've got 200 miles to drive, and so the driver just turns his hat around and goes for it. And we're in the back freezing to death, the heater doesn't work, and it's all... So we actually had to lie on top of each other, the Beatles, in the van, you know, so that brings you together. Got to lie on top of each other. And so after that, trying to follow that kind of closeness and that kind of reading each other, it's like you're patched in, you know.
It's kind of sad, really, in retrospect, isn't it, that as all of you were going through that maturation process, that the women in the life took the brunt of it for a great deal. And I'm not just talking about Yoko, I'm talking about Linda also.
Yeah. It is true, yeah. It was difficult, I suppose, for any women to enter into that picture, because as the Beatles, we really had the four of us, and then, in truth, without trying to be chauvinistic or anything, just because we were a group, there really wasn't any room for women. There was then the social life, but then the women came. So we generally tried to keep them out of the picture, you know, most of the time, and succeeded. But in the end,
word was for a time that say Beatle, that's a bad word.
Yeah, well, it was for me. It was very difficult because I was liken it to like a divorce, you know, and somebody wants to talk about your ex-wife and stuff, and you don't want to talk about it. You want to take your head somewhere else because it's painful. It's pretty painful, that, you know. I was going to say, just the rug being pulled from underneath you. And it wasn't just that either. If it had just been that might have been...
It was all the business
stuff, and him suing you for $1 million, and him suing you for $5 million. You've got to try and keep it all together, you know. It was probably like the most difficult period I've ever had in my life.
Do you ever see George and Ringo anymore?
Oh, yeah, quite a lot. Just done a little film with Ringo that's in the Cannes Film Festival, plug, this year. So I've seen quite a bit of Ringo. And George.
Is there ever a day that goes by when someone or something doesn't remind you of the Beatles?
Probably not. Yeah, I mean, actually, when I'm out in the street, when I'm doing this or when I'm doing stuff with kind of what I'd call work, that pretty much I get reminded.